the ambassador is here on behalf of the liberal. We don't speak wreckage. You should be how much slave was transported, but they can't give you. They write some fake information, but you could tell it's accurate because it's bogusly put together. There is no factual evidence to prove transatlantic slave trade took place. Now, in the times of these people building the boat to say they're having these voyage to go, they only could have built something as small as a little 25, 30 foot boat. And those particular boat couldn't carry no more than 5 to 10 passengers or 10 people, including the captain and his other crew members. So to tell you that they bring hundreds or thousands of people on a ship is a blatant lie, because they didn't have the capacity or the capability to make such voyage. Look back at the what the ship that they claimed they built the other day that sank, right? Look back at that ship. The name, you know, the name is slipping me right now. And the year the Titanic sank and when it was. That's just the other day. Slavery been around for over 400-500 years. At the time when they claiming they went to Africa and these places and transport. You are the vessel through the birth certificate. So when they come to colonize your land, they can't just come and steal you and put you in a cage or force you to do things against your will and thinking when you set free, you wouldn't. What they had to do is replace you with an identity. So they had to rename and restructure the land. So they create what we call documentation for you. So this now has a different name from its original name, which is just a corporation. It's a company, just like Uromi. They call it St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They call it Kyrie, Trinidad and Tobago. And they call it Turtle Island, USA, right? America. And they call it Kanata, Canada. It goes like that. And Cayasola, St. Lucia. So this is an Waitikabuli, Dominica. So this is to show you that what they did was colonize you. And by colonization, they had to write a script for you. So a script was written. And the script was a documentation of you being a chattel property for some slave master. And in other words, to have a chattel property, you have to create a documentation to own the slave. So the documentation would state that you would carry the last name of the slave master. So they would change your name to whether Toby, and you would carry Toby Willis or Toby Solin. These are all the slave master's name. And this is what slavery is. It's called paper terrorist or paper genocide. Stealing the land and redocumenting the land. Okay? Paper genocide. That's what slavery is. Paper terrorists. And that's what these de facto corporation is practicing all the days of their life, still on the people and them. Why? They transfer you from being an aboriginal, indigenous, national to being a citizen, which is a corporate subject, a dead entity, a fiction. You have to claim your life, right? And this is what you have to learn, that if transatlantic slave trade was accurate as they claim, then why the evidence can't be found? Why they can't even find a piece of wreckage for a ship? Why you could find evidence of mummified body over millions of years and pyramids and many artifacts that is over 20,000 years, and the slave trade a little over 400 years, and you can't even find a ship? Use your brain, people. Umar Johnson them or people with false information about Ghana being a port to transport slaves. The president of Ghana at that time was paid in farm it to fabricate the false information as well. It's all a lie. Misleading. You gotta wake up and stop being gullible. Stop following these people and the misinformation. Yeah? Just like the Bible, for those of you who believe the Bible is factual, and it's basically a metaphor, it's a script, it's a story. Remember, they write these things for you. Yeah, who came to your land to colonize your land? Missionaries. Right? Those are the ones that pretend that they come in peace, but yet they come for war. And the word peace is transferred, it is interpreted as war in etymology. That's what peace is. It means war. So they always use this English language, which is full of spells and tricks to trap you, just like the court system. When they would ask you if you understand, they're asking you if you stand under the control. If you say yes, then you give jurisdiction. It's just little words of tricks and traps used against you. And ask you if you're an individual or a person. If you answer to them things, that you give jurisdiction. You answer to being a corporation, a fiction. Something that is under their jurisdiction. And you give consent to contract with joinder. So you give the magistrate joinder to your account. So he now play the role of executor over your estate. So these are the kind of tricks they use upon you. This is what they do to you. So you must wake up. Yeah? When the old story say wake up and smell the coffee because it smells good, go and drink it before it gets too cold. It's reality. Wake up because a lot of you come from Africa. For instance, everybody carry a phenotype and every landmass have a particular indigenous. And some landmass carry an indigenous species. Beings. We have a particular phenotype. Our skull shape and our phenotype are different from the original Africans. Now, let me give you a piece of history that they did. They deported. Okay, let me don't use the word deported. They shipped a lot of us from the Caribbean and America to Africa to perpetrate the fraud that our phenotypes is also in Africa. This is why you see some people in Africa that don't have the original phenotype of the amalgamated Africans and don't look exactly like them. Even though they might talk and say the same language as the Africans because they've been there for a couple of years. If your ancestors was shipped to a land and they grew up and have children, you adapt the culture, the language and everything. So you will act like you're really from there, but you're not. Your descendants are not from there. You was forced there, or you was shipped there. That's what they did. Right? But before that time, when the slave trade, as they claim, took place, it was not actually a slave trade. It was go and capture and colonize the land. That's how they did it. They went into the land, they captured the land and colonized the people. By changing your diet, your culture, your name, your languages, everything they stole from you. They strip you of your identity. They make an identity up for you. They colonize the land, they colonize the people. So instance, here the script of colonizing the land. To colonize the land has to be renamed. That's the act of colonization. So is you. And your rename is coming under a citizenship. Because you're a vessel floating on the Sea of Commerce. That's how it took place. So by creating this myth and lying to you about coming from Africa, you would not know your culture, therefore you would not fight for your heritage, where the land where your ancestors come from. You would want to go to somewhere else where you don't belong. And still today, with a lot of our people who go into Africa claiming the heritage, even though they can see for themselves that it don't look nothing like the Africans. What I notice with some of them is that they're not fully accepted in the African society as a true brothers and sisters. Because following the phenotype and the real, not the fake DNA test that they claim they do to our people, that you could go random do, because DNA, for instance, if a sister, I have a child with her, and I feel that she's trying to give me a jacket for me to prove that it's not a jacket, I has to get the DNA from the child and do my DNA to prove that. If you don't do an actual DNA swab with these so-called African nations or people or tribes to prove that you're from there, don't worry about this random DNA that they claim they're doing. That's bogus. That's another fabricated information, and a lot of people try to go by it, thinking it's real. It's not. You have to wake the bumble clot up. Wake up. Smell the coffee. We ain't playing now. It's our time. And when we come to speak truth, we don't sugarcoat it no matter what. We never sugarcoat speech. Never sugarcoat speech. Never. Yeah? So, we gotta set the record straight.
Hear me?
Yeah, greetings, my brother. Greetings. Great vibration. Great vibration.
Yeah. I didn't know what you're talking about, so I just come in and just see you on there. So I'm taking.
Well, what I'm talking about is the transatlantic slave trade and why it's such a myth, and why people have to stop be so gullible and they need to start to think for themselves instead of just listening to information and digesting things that really don't make no facts.
Yes, that's
Right?
a
Because
fact.
if transatlantic slave trade was such a logical thing, why is it that you could find wreckage and evidence of our ancestors from the pyramid over hundreds of years?
Stop.
By documenting the land and documenting the people as a company, a corporation, right? And this is the tricks they use to steal your birthright. And by taking away your culture, your history, and your language, and introduce you to a religious practice that not only make you a passive obedient slave, but it blind you from actually seeing the truth. And this is the trap that they set up. And they bring the missionaries. And the missionaries act like they come here in peace. But there was no peace from the missionaries. The missionary video. I'm here right now, live on TikTok. You don't know me, I have to blaze the fire upon them. Because people like Umar Johnson and the others and them out there just manipulating and lying to the people about transatlantic slave trade, which is irrelevant. Is it? Because me ain't even come here for play. Just like the storybook that people follow what they call Bible. Imagine you're colonized. This Bible and these other religion didn't come from your ancestors, yet you believe in it solely and wholly. You believe everything that was told to you. And if you trace the history of these books, especially the Bible, the boy King James was a whole child molester, a pedophile, right? And to show you facts over fiction, the Council of Nicaea, which in the time was the Roman Empire and them who consult for these councils to take place so they could control and manipulate the earth, right? And they orchestrated this council to choose how much books they want to write and keep and use as a religious doctrine to indoctrinate and brainwash the people.
325 AD.
It's the same.
That is 325 years after.
Story
After the so-called death, what they call death.
transatlantic
Like
slave.
225 years
It's all
after.
Mate, go ahead, my
In
brother, if
fact,
you have to speak. Go ahead.
in fact, in the who were not eyewitnesses of the time that the writing was taking place, except John, but Matthew, Mark, and Luke were not even disciples or apostles. Let me say that because it had plenty disciples, but he chose 12 apostles. The people close to him were apostles. I had no Matthew, had no Mark, I had no Luke. Anyhow, those writings, if you check those, the time of those writings was out. I think the age of the writing was about, I think it was 60 or 55 years after that event when they're talking about. Written 55 years after, and it was 65 and 75, and John was about nearly 100 years, changing the stories over and over until it reaches us today in English. It was not even in English. I only translating words from one language. There are many words that may not appear in your language that you have to convey into your language for the people to understand. For instance, if in your language, for you to tell somebody, you to write and tell somebody in the language you want them to understand in, right? Remember, you don't have a word for car. You have to create something or say something that will sound close to what it is you have in mind for them to really take what it is you're saying, and you could mislead them because you do not have a word for that in your language. And is that as well that is taking place in the translation of what is taking place? In fact, some words sound the same. You have S-U-N of God and you have S-O-N of God. And a quick question you could ask is, which one is more? Has both of them. And the Quran has both of them. And we will say Son of God, and what does it really mean? Because the S of God, don't rise every day and set every day the S-U-N of God. Where is the S-O-N of God going? Where is he coming to? Where is he coming? Where is he coming? So which is more important, the S-U-N of God or the S-O-N of God? And these are the kind of things.
Well, me personally don't subscribe to these things.
That is why it is like it is.
I don't subscribe
for you to get caught up.
I don't subscribe to religion because I know these things was used as metaphor, not facts.
Exactly. That's fact. It
Right?
says that it said
Not
that it is
actually,
allegory.
like these people never exist and they never live. It was used as a metaphor just for you to see as a script, for you to follow certain guide, but it was not really a factual. Like how Christianity and Muslim take it for a factual thing and think that these people actually live and there was such a flood in Noah time. If I tell you the truth, people, none of those things ever exist. A lot of people who believe in Christianity, they will claim that you're blaspheming, but the ignorance and the brainwashing condition that was placed on them, they can't think critically, so they don't know. Because none of these people that they speak of ever exist. To have enough.
Both the Bible and the Quran
made up stories. The facts that I look at the Christ. Let me give you an example. The Christ, for your knowledge, that's called the Christ fluids. There is not an actual Christ because they never exist. And that's the Christ consciousness. It's not actually a physical form with a man. All these things. They have to know that it's a metaphor.
You could become a Christ. You could become a Christ.
Yeah, you can become a Christ man. All of us can become a Christ man by reaching the higher level to yourself. But it's not an actual script to follow pertaining to a Bible doctrine. You got to remove, they got to remove that stigma and that indoctrination from the mind. It's similar the way the transatlantic slave trade was written as a fake script and people follow it, but they never really study the logical form of it. Why it don't make sense? Because your phenotype do not match the original African phenotype. The wreckage of these so-called vessels can never be found. There is no evidence, no dates, nothing. They make shit up. But the dates on them they make up, you could see they're inaccurate and they can't bring no logical facts to anything they're saying because it's all garbage.
Both the Bible and the Quran tells you that all right, let me go to the incident that took place with
Dwayne
Abraham.
Calloway and many other brother already done debunk the transatlantic slave trade with brutal evidence.
Yeah, I was saying that both the Bible is what you call stories in the Bible. It's really it is in Galatians, the New Testament. Both Bible and the Quran tell that it is not something that is coming from the inside. You can look at it both ways. It's from the inside and it is put into a book on the outside. So the inside of what this is coming from, it is put that way. So you could really take it and internalize it and see how it applies to you. For instance, the story with Job, right? Job was there, the devil was there, God was there, and Job was, and he already got kicked out of the devil already got kicked out of heaven, but somehow he and God and everybody, they having a good time, right? And Job now Job was not in that, But I bet that Job was so good, and this amount of pressure come on Job, which was not necessary. But that actually happened. Someone like Job, where you could be so pressured and you will still hold on you and you will try to be at your highest self no matter what happens. But you can look at it that way. But it don't have to be that all the things that a servant come and tell
That's
Job.
how I am all the time.
Why God put that boy through that
because
bullshit? Why God gave him that?
correct.
God didn't know.
I'm glad you mentioned that because you don't have to follow it the way the story is because it's actually.
The book says that, me right that the book says that.
You know. Entertainer star and the manhood has been jeopardized because they make another man turn them into gay so that they could be a star.
They have to bend over.
They lose all the sanity. They don't have the manhood anymore because a man is not a man when he bow to be a woman and take something up his ray. So that's the level of what you're saying. Metaphor. It's like you have to stand solid, you have to hold your ground. Do not sell out. Do not sell out.
Job. Right, correct. Well said, well said. They didn't do like Job.
Yeah.
They didn't do like Job.
Yeah, they didn't do like Job. Job, holy faith and stay solid. That's all that is trying to tell you. Is like you're not supposed to give in under pressure. You have to stand on your square and stick up for your rights. Fight the fight you need to fight so you can liberate yourself. Yeah, just like when I was in the meeting, 25th of last month, and before I enter the stage, when the Prime Minister saw me, when he don't know that he can stand when he see me, because he will be exposed. He run, he call his people, right, his security forces to come and take you up from here, because he know I will pass questions on him. He will have to answer to the people. So he ran away before I hit the stage, right? Just like various meetings that I was called to represent the indigenous people, and there was certain state official, the acting. And while I was there, he was told to show up. And then when I asked him how he ain't come, the attorney general telling me some other meeting he had to attend to, but it was a lie. Because the acting prime minister, who is a best friend of one of my friends, told me that the prime minister is afraid to approach and see you.
He should be glad.
Because he knows he will be turned over.
He should be glad.
No, he's afraid. He doesn't want to be publicly embarrassed, because what I would do is I would use my knowledge, my skill, and ask him questions and put him on the spot. And he doesn't want that, because he will be destroyed. Because I'm not going to just do like these regular people, ask some dumb question. I'm going to ask him some very critical question that he wouldn't be able to answer, because he will be exposing the system as a fraud. Those are what are the kind of question I would put to him. So he knows he cannot stand up, because I asked the Attorney General and the acting Prime Minister, where do they get the authority from? And they say the Crown. And I say, the Crown don't have no authority to give you authority. Prove that. Is the Crown First Nation? They say no. So I say, how do you come to claim authority that you is a foreigner, an indigenous soil? You don't have. That's fraud in itself. They say, yeah, we know what you're saying. Then I come back and I ask him, if any of you can provide me the status of this corporation that calls itself government. And I say, are you? There's only one real government, is a de jure, and one is called a de facto. What are you? The Attorney General and the Prime Minister answer and say de facto. I say, you don't have no authority. You just disqualify yourself. So the Prime Minister knows that I will put them on the spot, and he will have to answer. So he is the one that is afraid to say these things, to expose his own self. Because once you're de facto acting as a government, it means you don't have no authority. You don't have no lawful authority, not even legal authority. It means you're just a criminal gang, and police is just a mob. So it's an exposure. I expose them. So this is why he doesn't come into a meeting, approach me in any kind of conference, any kind of dispute, because he's afraid. He don't know I'll destroy him. I'll destroy the whole system like I do all the time. Right? This is why police can't even stand in front of me, and no magistrate can't even talk when it comes to a court. They try to keep away when it comes to me, because it's shut. I automatically shut that shit down. I require your oath of office and bonds right away. I'm not even playing with you. And if you can't provide that, we're not going to have dialogue. And it's freedom of information, and it's my rights, due process of law, to question you.
That's facts.
Whether you have authority, and if you are lawfully performing, because you could have somebody that dressing up in a black robe
a fraud
as a magistrate or a judge.
A fraud.
And not only can you have somebody dressed up in a court or judge acting as a magistrate, you could also, right, be tyrannical, and by your bonds, I can hold you accountable. I have you removed from power and get paid through your bonds. These are the techniques that I want people to learn, apply. Knowledge and information, and also document the land where the system can't come and touch it, and put it under trust and loyal title, and also create a de jure government that supersedes them, but just need members to come on board, sisters and brothers, so we could fulfill the destiny that the ancestors placed me here to do, which is to restore the legacy, the land, and its resources. This is the reason why I had to come here and speak where I'm speaking tonight, and highlight the fact that the transatlantic slave trade is a myth, and that you were told that because they didn't want you to find out that you are the vessel by choice through the birth certificate fraud. It's called paper terrorist or paper genocide. Redocumentation of something that was already someone else owned, but you're stealing it. So you have to make something up and claim it's yours. That's called paper terrorist or paper genocide. That's exactly what the colonizers did. So you know as a national, right? You know as a national or indigenous man or woman, you have to find the truth and be able to stand on a square and document yourself. Yeah? This is some serious knowledge that we have to actually share in the forefront.
They do not want the people to know that they were always here, because if they let the people, that's why they use that term, they came from Africa, when they brought them across here, because they will not look that the ground they are standing on is theirs. They will always look to see that they come from somewhere else, other than where they are at the time, which is here. We were always here. This part of the earth, the Americas, are the oldest part of the earth, not Africa. It was here before Africa.
No, that's
Africa,
true.
we come from Africa. We who went across there. Africa was a walkover. It's we
And
who
do you
went
know?
across there.
Do you know that? Do you know that? Do you know that Arizona is where called Old Egypt?
That's Egypt. The Mississippi is the Nile.
Yeah, that's Egypt.
The
Yeah,
Mississippi
that's
is older
Egypt.
than the Nile.
And do you know?
That's Egypt.
Do you know that the pyramids that is found in Guatemala and New Mexico and all over the Caribbean is older than those that is in Africa?
Not only older, have more on this side of the earth than Africa. Not only at this part
I know
of the
that.
America has
Correct.
more, older and more in order to have civilization. Let us look at it from a basic point of view. If Africa was the civilizers or where civilization started, how you could be civilized and become uncivilized? When were you civilized and when you did become uncivilized? Because as it is now, Africa is one of the poorest continent. It is. Let's face it. When was Africa civilized and when did they become uncivilized? To have civilization, you have to have basic amenities to be civilized. You have to have basic amenities.
Correct.
One is water. Across on this side of the planet has more rivers and springs than Africa. Hundreds more, thousands more than Africa. That is basic. You have to have water. You have to have food. Out of the 640 something food crops that it has in Africa today, over 600 come from the Americas. Over 600. The basic food across there, staple diet across in Africa right now is cassava. It came from Brazil. Cocoa, it's so much. The animals are older. The trees across there are older. Okay, and you have to have water, you have to have food, you have to have clothes. You don't have to have clothes in Africa, you know. You have to have clothes across here. Where has cotton? Cotton don't grow in Africa. It has to have cotton here. On this side, because we have to have clothes here, because here getting... They don't even wear clothes right now. They don't bunk for clothes. Food alone, they could have food. And water, they bunk for clothes. So there's so much, there's no way, you could never win that debate that came from Africa. You could never win that. Call that loss. Because you have no evidence. All of what they told you in the school, on the books, they put you on a ship. The Caucasians come not from ships or boats. They have no ship at that time either. Boat. But we're not even getting into that. Basic. We never came from, we were always from...
You see, what I want to let people know too, you have to question everything you was told. Don't just accept these things. Correct. Question them. See if they make sense.
That's correct.
See if they're logically speaking. Don't just accept the lies you're told because you would be too gullible. Look at me.
And we on this
it starts with a thought in the mind. It starts with a vision. And from that vision, you make things and set it in stone. I'm off grid. I know you could see me claiming that's because I have my own electrical grid. And I build my own palace off grid. That's because you work for what you want. You put it into the thoughts of the mind and you manifest it and you work into getting where you want.
Yeah.
And you get it and you do it the way you want it. And my hands is a hands that can do anything. So I build my own house, I run my own electrical wire, I do my own plumbing, I do everything because guess what, I do my own farm and everything.
Somebody said
to be creative. A lot of people don't understand that this journey is not for a weak heart. It's for a strong-minded person who knows that even if they want skill enough, they will acquire the skill once they put their mind to it. You don't even have
Somebody
to know
only,
how to build a house, to be able to build a house. You just have to put your mind to it and know that you can do it. And just few little steps you take and learn, and you will surprise to see what you can do.
somebody only chat say from a man who work with Dr. York. Here the crap you're talking. I don't know if you're talking about you or me. And he say really sad. Somebody named Draco. Somebody mentioned Dr.
I don't really want to entertain. I don't want to entertain these negative souls because they really don't have much to talk. They are mostly a follower. Listen, they don't even see that even some of these great speakers sometimes make mistakes and say things that is inaccurate. Now everybody is not you're not perfect, and that you can make mistakes too. But when you make a mistake and you acknowledge it, you have to correct it. And 100% merit in them. They might have few, some might be accurate, but not everything. So they still have to go back and check themselves to see if they are actually
Somebody tell
fully
me.
solid in everything they say and do.
I would like Draco to say what it is.
Oh,
Was
is you
said
that telling?
about. Yeah, well, but now no. I would like Draco to say or what it is was said about Dr. York. That the crap I'm speaking about Dr.
Exit out.
Because what it is Dr. York is talking about, what we talking about. I don't see much. You will get people with that. That is small thing. You will get people who will not be agreeing.
Now
but there's nothing about
one here who's really just probably here as a little puppet is asking me if this is a carnival. I'm wearing my indigenous war bonnet, and this person here, right, is asking me if this is a carnival cloth. So this is where you see with them. They're not really enlightened. They're not awakened. They don't know themselves. They don't know who they are. I excuse them.
well,
Call himself Darko, aka B. So the person don't really know much of knowledge. So they are like a little in a closed box.
if you want to come up, let him come up and let us see what you
Don't
want
mean
to say.
offensive to you, but sometimes go and investigate. Go and investigate about your culture, who you are, and a lot of our cultural traditions and the clothes and the stuff we wear. This is called a war bonnet. Right? This is a war bonnet.
It is a war
and I
bonnet.
wear the war bonnet to show that we're still at war with the enemy. They're still occupying our land, calling themselves government. This is a war bonnet. This is our indigenous headgear that we wear from time to time. There's different ones. There's some that symbolize we are at peace and we celebrating love and a moment of togetherness. And when you wear this one, this particular one that I have here, with the red and steel, with the yellow and the white, it means we are at war with the enemy. It's a war bonnet. There's different
It's
ones.
also
If you see a
it
way
is
one that's
also
pure white, pure white and blue, we are peace. Right? This one represents war. So for your
it
information,
also
I know you don't know much. So it's gonna reveal to you in time.
it also is when you wear your feathers, right? But it wasn't always these feathers, but because how the animals, the birds and them had the feathers too. But the point about it is when you have your feathers, you carry certain amount of information or knowledge. Right? So you'll find out a man with a feather, when you approach him, you expect him to have certain the chief is to wear feathers, certain amount of information. Now, Draco, if you can, if you wear a feather and I come to you and I ask you certain things and you realize to yourself, right, that you're really able to answer the question, you're supposed to take it off, because you're not qualified to wear that. It's as simple as that. You're not you're not qualified to wear it. Because
Well, that's why I answer it for him. I answer it for him because these feathers was wearing particular ceremony and practices, and they have different meanings. That's why we wear different colors at different times. Reason why I put on the war bonnet is because we still at war.
Yeah,
The
but you
enemy
could
still
also,
occupies our land.
yeah,
Yeah, we still have an occupation on the land.
yeah.
That's
That shows
facts.
that's our that is our ancient ancestral indigenous area as well. This particular fellas, man, fellas up, come out with the fellas. We see they will not know it, right? They are corporate. Now it have some like sometimes when we having carnival time here, we have fellas that we wear too.
Yeah.
Maybe the war bonnet we wear too. But what I'm saying is, when people who like Draco and them who talking on the chat, they are corporate. They are not free to speak how we are speaking because we expressing how we live. We live free. We live free.
Just leave that alone because we're here with knowledge. We don't have
Yeah,
time to
yeah, yeah,
discuss
yeah.
that
I
lower
like that for that
vibration
shit.
entity
We
that you
live.
are flowing under right
We
now.
live.
The knowledge I share is what this
We are not
represents and
corporate.
what we do use and where it at and what exactly reason for this particular headdress. I don't have time for them things there. I come here to speak facts, wake the people up,
Okay.
and bring unity back to our people because we're too divided.
Okay.
Right?
Here, what he
And
say?
if I was to ask you,
What
what is your nationality, what are you gonna tell me? Yeah, Draco, what is your nationality? That's what
Look,
I
he
would
just
like to
said
do. I would
there.
like to question your ability, how you stand.
He said there.
What is your nationality?
He said, what board in Look, he said it there. He said, what board in Trinidad? You got that from. I just said the word Trinidad, you're not going on there already. He's corporate.
Yeah, he's
He's
corporate. I
corporate.
know, but he listen to the foolishness he's saying. Listen to him. He don't realize that all the gold and silver, which is real money, belong to us.
But you still have
We
to
are
use
the
money.
owners of all these things.
What is money?
Not
What
the
is money? Paper
corporation
and ink?
calling itself government.
Paper and ink is money. Colored coupon is money. Paper and ink.
That's
That's what
what
you
he
talking
thinks.
about.
That's
That's
why.
money.
That's all he know
That's
because he
coupon.
doesn't have knowledge.
Paper and ink is
Listen to the
coupon.
ignorant
Right,
Christian.
real money?
He's posing. Yes, we ignorant Christian. He's asking where these feathers, what board these feathers come from. Don't pay you no mind. Wake up, yeah. And I don't even know why you're on my life. If your ignorance is so absurd, why you on my life?
Sometimes you have to use them to educate. Sometimes you have to use them to let other people hear what's happening, so you get information to other
Yeah,
people. So you're really speaking to the people, and not really them. You know. That happened to Draco here right now. So you find with Draco now, the more
yeah,
thing,
Jericho, you need to wake up.
yeah, the longer he stays and the more questions he asks, is more information you will give to the people who are listening, not really
Give
him.
thanks, Marcia. Give thanks to my goddess
So
in Saint Lucia there in Kayosala. That's the real name. Kayosala. Give
yeah,
thanks, Empress. Love and light. Balance,
yeah.
oneness. Hail up your husband and everybody for me. Give greetings to the family for me. Oh, me and everyone. Yeah. Great vibes. Yeah. Well, we gotta always stay up on point, my brother, because we are the teachers, we are the leaders. We are the one that was chosen to fight this battle. We don't have no time to stay
Nah,
in the lower dimension like most of these people are. So we gotta
yeah.
share knowledge and information that could wake the dead up,
Yeah. What,
sleeping people. So wake up.
let me Draco, let's compliment you
You listen to the
because
name of yourself, Jacob. Look at the meaning of the word Jacob. You might be embarrassed to carry it. Give thanks, Empress. Give thanks. Love and
leave it. No,
light.
we like him to stay
Much
and
love.
participate because he could be one to knows what is going on and giving us more things to say.
Yeah.
But he's not coming up live, so
So
I'm
we
saying
got to stay focused because this knowledge that we have.
more. He will say more, so he could. Oh, I have no problem with people who disagree and think
He would be talking in
disagree. I might learn from them because they might say something that I may not know. So I will agree if it's that. I will say, okay, let's go.
They cause you to expose more information and more facts to the people and them. So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's like that.
The journey of knowledge goes deep.
Yeah,
And
man.
the information that we share is what I want my brothers and sisters to digest so that they could actually stand on the square, because in this time, it pays you a lot, because you shouldn't have to let somebody speak for you or represent you. So let me ask a question. Do many of you who thought you must hire an attorney at law to speak for you? Why you don't hire the attorney to bathe the skin and to cook for you? Because when you hire an attorney, it means you're incompetent. So an incompetent being can't even help feed themselves. They classify as retarded. That's how you classify in the book of law. When you hire a lawyer, you're retarded, you can't help yourself, so the attorney speaks for you. So for most of you who sitting in that mind frame, who doesn't know the classification, how they classify you, attorney means you're a dead fiction, a dead entity. You can't speak, you can't talk. So you need a representative, somebody to represent you. So if you're a dead fiction and you think the attorney is only for speaking, how come you going home and cook? If you're that incompetent, why are you cooking? And why are you bathing your skin? This is what I want people to understand. Same how the attorney can study. It just takes time for you to put in the energy into what you think is best for you and study it. Do your due diligence so you could come out as the best on top.
Truth.
Yeah?
Truth.
So this is why important information today is knowledge, and what was hidden is now revealed, and all the lies that has been told is now debunked. That's how we can never. And we don't speak like the colonizers speak. We speak facts, so we don't use the word they use. We say we be free. And we ain't adding on nothing such as dumb, because we ain't dumb. Right? So we free.
We telling people how to live free, enjoy your life, you're living the best time. And you're building the best life now.
I said free lawn. I live off grid and I have my own resources. I have my own wealth I make off the land. And I make quite a large amount of wealth from the land in farming and many other products, tonics, healing medicine and all kind of stuff. That's because I'm very knowledgeable in all fields, right? I'm also a jack of all trade. And I don't work with people, but if I have a sister or brother who is loyal to me and they need a helping hand, I'll give them a helping hand in whatever work they want to be done, because I'm versatile like that. You see me? You probably a brother that working with the system or working with the corporation, but I actually do everything for myself. I make my own choices, my own decision. I pay no bills, but I have current, I have electricity. I have my own electrical grid. And I have my own water system. So I have abundance with me. I have food out there. I could go out there, look, I have ripe banana I pick off of my land. I have plantain, I have pumpkin, I have edos, I have yam, I have pineapple, I have everything. You know, off-grid lifestyle. You see me? So, just for you to know, Jaco, anytime you can think like me, you will be able to be self-sufficient, independent. And you will fly high like the eagle. Otherwise, you're just a little, we call them like a sparrow bird. You could only fly a certain level. You ain't reach that status. So go and do your research and understand what is a bonded instrument mean and why the birth certificate is a bond. And see if you can find out, they say the Sesta Key Trust. And then you can tell me that you find out the truth and what you learn about it. You could come back and text me in my on my TikTok, and I will respond to you. And if you need more knowledge, I will help you. Then I will see you trying to learn. But if you ain't trying to reach that level, I won't engage with you.
You want to use money? Of course, you use money. You live the best life. You use money. Using money come to say don't eat.
Of course, we have to use money.
Well, dumb question. Eh?
We use gold and silver as the main money. But the promissory note that they have as a medium of exchange, even if I'm taking that as an exchange of value for my goods, I'm getting well paid from it. And it's my right to do that because we are the one who created everything.
Yes.
So you need to know that the system don't have authority to dictate of the land. It comes as well and live fabulous. Not because you hear I'm indigenous and I'm off grid. You think I'm living in fucking cave? I'm living a fabulous life. Let me tell you something. I got hot water heater in here. I got hot water heater. I got sauna tub. Everything right here. I got a state-of-the-art flush toilet here. I got state-of-the-art stove here. So for those of you who like to talk and don't know nothing, I make off-grid living like I'm in a 5-star hotel. Eat that as a pot food, Draco. Digest that. You feel me, my brother? Yeah.
Draco can understand that. Draco, Darko, he can understand that. Once
Yeah, he doesn't understand. And let me let you know, Draco, the money that you claim it doesn't belong to them. Even though they create the fiat currency, it still don't belong to them because for them to have that money back in, even the paper they're using come from the land. You need to know. So all the resources belong to us. It doesn't belong to them. And guess what? As a brother that done created his own nation and has we own Dijon government, I am already embarking and creating our own money as well. So take that, yeah, and swallow that as a pill. That's food for thought. Yeah? Right now I'm embarking and making our own money for our nation, our people.
Darko, you know we don't call people queen, right? I mean, know why. We don't call the ladies queen.
Don't
I mean, know why.
worry about my queen and them things. That's none of your business. I don't deal with queen because the word queen means hoe.
I'm telling them that. We know that. You don't call the ladies, we don't call our women queens. We
You
don't
don't
do that.
call woman queen.
No. We don't
Queen
use
mean
those
hoe.
words. You see your fire behind Darko? Your fire
We
behind,
have
right?
goddess.
Yes.
Like we are called God, called goddess.
Yes. Right, Darko? So, you know.
So
we
I
don't
have
do that.
goddesses.
It has certain
And
words.
I
we
have
don't use.
multiple wives. So go learn something, my brother.
No, you learning.
You're sleeping.
He's doing. What is very he's good. That's been good.
Yeah. Yo, my brother, the TikTok is a it's good being
Darko,
on fire. And I'm glad you joined me so that you could be on the live as well.
yeah, man. Darko, we ain't mad with you, you know. We ain't mad with you at all.
Jacko, tell Jacko,
We mad with you.
you is a head of a chief over there. He doesn't know what's going on. Go. Yeah.
You see nobody beating up. We ain't beating up, right?
Yeah, more love and fire, my brother. Just take care of yourself, man.
You can't say beating up.
Yeah. Try find out about knowledge. You'll read somewhere.
You said, men Rob said,
Try
I'm
find
not
out knowledge. You'll
qualified
read
to
somewhere.
talk. I don't know that. I don't know I'm not qualified to talk. Who said that? Because somebody's. When I say jumping from boat to boat, what does it mean? When I say jumping from boat to boat, what does it mean?
Remember, there's a brother.
I will tell you what does he mean by being jumping from boat to boat. I will
But
tell you
don't
what does he mean. If it's that what he's saying. He mean I am being me. So he mean if I am here and I can be me, I will simply shift to which part I will be me. Then I'm jumping from boat to boat, Jaco. I will just be me. I like being me. I will always be me. If I come by you now, and
know, so you learn some
yeah, there will be time
facts,
that
no, man.
you will get stuck and you will get stuck yourself anywhere. That time that change that to move. And then what it is you have to do, you are not the same place you are now
Just me
or there before. We indigenous
speaking so
sir.
you can learn some sense, no, man.
This is not this is
Speaking so you can learn by yourself, now you don't know.
come up on the live, come up on the live. We are mad, we mad nobody. We are mad. Mad, so don't feel it jumping and don't know you're jumping, you're being you. And if you find you can be you in a tight space or give yourself space where you can flex and you be you, you're jumping to go anywhere. In fact, it's like
Yeah.
this. It's like this. You're always being better, you're just getting better and better. So if you find out minimum say, according to you, I just move to be better. I move to be better. I will always be better. I'll be better tomorrow. I'll be better than now. I'll be better by now the next
Correct.
moment. So you're always looking for betterment. You're not jumping to go
Correct,
anywhere.
correct. Go
I'm
ahead,
not a
my brother,
politician.
talk all the
I'm not
time. Go
a
ahead.
politician. I'm not a politician. I'm not in religion.
Facts over
You
fiction.
can't join. You say you get a restriction on this page. You can't join this page. You can't join live. Or you might get restriction. You know what is going. You know what's going. You know what's going. So,
I don't know what's
but we
going on with
appreciate.
them. I believe they might be giving some of these people a little restriction sometimes.
Well, they have a list. They
Because
have a list of. They have a list
like
of restrictions, right? They have a list of restrictions, and the kind of qualification. Man, you could fall into any one of them. You know, you could fall into one that you don't even know. It has some you know it is
TikTok
about
move
at
one of
all.
my video because the Prime Minister vexed because people was inquiring and questioning the system. The last video I post up. So he called TikTok and TikTok removed the video. And the video was very informative, very educational for both man, woman, and child. There was nothing explicit, nothing obscene, nothing that is anyway negative to the children. But TikTok decided to move it because one of the agents for the Prime Minister calling and say is detrimental to the corporation and its agents because people starting to question them after I speak.
I know
So they
realize who is
start
that.
getting frightened.
I don't know who is Darko. I know realize who is Darko. I know we went on his profile and see who it is.
Go
Yeah,
in
he
now, look at
around.
him.
Yeah, no look at him. He around Dr. York too. I know him, I know him. But he can come and he can come here. He is one. I will tell you what it is many time. I will tell you what it is. I will, and he didn't mind us saying this because you know this is true. He didn't mind us saying this. He is the one that was telling me at the time. Well, the only reason we claim indigenous, right, on the land is because one of the reasons is because we cannot we cannot we do what it is we want. Something like that. So we could claim indigenous. So the reason why we could claim indigenous is to say we didn't come from Africa. And saying, how do you know that I am claiming I'm indigenous? Right? Because I didn't even have to go into that. I don't even have to, I could go into my great grandparents and my great great grandparents. I could go into their culture. I could go into the music. I could go into the culture. I could go into the culture and tell you how we used to live here. I remember how we used to live here before Trinidad, before what they call Trinidad and Tobago. It hadn't any Trinidad and Tobago here. It hadn't any Trinidad and Tobago when we were here. We were here before Trinidad and Tobago. That's
Trinidad and Tobago is
Trinidad
just a
and Tobago
matter of
is
war
even
that they
wrong.
just used to colonize the land. That's called
That is not
paper
wrong.
terrorists. That's what they used to
Yes,
colonize the land.
Trinidad and Tobago is not
It's the
wrong.
same thing they did to European colonizers that call it St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Cayosala called St. Lucia and Pairi call it Trinidad. Like I said before,
And Alubaba is
when they
Tobago.
come to colonize your land, they can't
Yeah.
just capture you and let you go. They have to change your name and your identity. They have to change your culture. They have to beat it
For
in you
instance-
that you must adapt something
And-
that's alien to you. So you must become an alien
And
in
here-
your own land.
And here what it is happens here. We have a road called Lady Young. Who is Lady? Who is Young? We have streets like Charlotte Street, Abercrombie Street, Frederick Street, Nelson Street, and highways named after all one set of colonizers. Right here, our capital here on this land here is Spain Port, is a port of Spain. Not even port of Trinidad. Not even the port of Trinidad. Let's say, as bad as it is, the port of, because Trinidad is not what it is. It's a business, a company, or corporation, right? It doesn't even name, the capital here is not even port of Trinidad. It's port of Spain. I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you the minds of the people. The capital here is port of, not even port of Trinidad. Somebody asking you to add them here.
I'm trying to see if they allow them to come
Yeah,
in.
not even the port of Trinidad. That is to tell you the minds that when we call the name, right, that we call in the name of colonizers in our main, in some of our main dwellings. Of course, it have the indigenous name still, is it? It have the indigenous name that is still here. And some people don't even know these names are indigenous names that we call some of the territories that we have here. And some of the land, some of the places we call here is name that was here long time. And it had nothing to do with colonizers.
Yeah, greetings, my brother. Greetings, my brother.
Yeah, greetings. Yeah, so back. I was
Greetings.
just going to ask any questions on where did you all get the bird from? I don't want no ring or wrong. I just asking a straightforward, genuine question. Where did you all get those bird feathers from?
Let me answer that. That is easy. What happened before? And it could still be
Never
now.
ask that explanation, bro.
I'm answering the
Bro,
question.
just now. You see the long
No, you cannot tell me how to
listen,
answer the
Karma.
question.
Karma,
Go ahead.
listen.
Go ahead.
And I
Go ahead.
prefer paramount answer. That is why men will say you're not qualified to answer questions. So I prefer paramount ask and tonic man answer this question. It's a simple question. If I have to use a particular feather to write something and you came in my office or anywhere I am and asked me where I got this feather from, I will explain to you I got this feather either from a hawk, either from a falcon, either from a kobo, either from an eagle. It's a simple question. I never ask you for all them explanation. Where did you get the feathers to build your headpiece? Simple.
This is bald eagle feathers.
Do it an eagle in the Caribbean.
This is bald eagle feathers. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, so
Bald
nice.
eagle.
Does it have eagle in the Caribbean?
No, we have hawks and black hawk. We don't really have the big ones like the eagle. It's a family
why-
to them, but not the real eagle.
So why not get what is indigenous to your place and not to
So it
stay?
doesn't matter now, my brother. It
But
doesn't
that's why
matter
that's
now
why
because I am
you don't
American
answer.
as well. The
You don't-
Americas, this is all the
don't
Americas.
answer.
The motherland America
why?
is still part of here. is
Here
no
why that is
difference
biased.
because
Here why.
we are
Here,
also the American. Turtle Island is the motherland. We are all part of it. So it doesn't matter where, or how, or when. Everything that exists around here into the motherland
It's
and
our
back
culture.
is equivalent to every one of us. This is called the Atlantis Islands.
Of course
And
it
the
is.
Atlantis Island is made up of Canatan, which is called Canada, Turtle Island, which is called USA or America, along with all the Caribbean islands. This is our region. So nothing is limited to me. All that is found in all these lands belongs to us.
okay, what is the meaning of indigenous?
Organic.
We don't really, you see the indigenous too?
Organic.
Indigenous mean,
Listen,
it
listen,
means
hold.
it's supposed to represent a
Just now, Chief. Just now, Chief.
particular
Chief, hear this, right?
species of man
Hear
or
this, Chief.
woman from a particular land mass. But it's also interpreted as a word that they pattern. The real word we're supposed to use is original.
Or
And that's where
organic.
they use the word original.
That's correct.
Right. So,
Because
nice.
this is
like
what
how
I
you-
do when it comes to my documentation. I may
Right,
use the word
so-
indigenous because they use it frequently, but I also
That's
put the highlight, the original word, which is a space, and then I put original. Because
That's
I don't join
correct.
it as one word.
That's
So,
Because
I
I'm
like
correct.
dealing
how you
with
tell me.
syntax.
So right, so like I like how you made mention with one important thing, original. If a bird or animal is not original to the ground that you're standing on, which is the Caribbean, which is Kairia as you claim, not Trinidad, right? We stating this, we're going with facts. And we as indigenous people in this land, and here we are importing feathers from something that is not original to our land.
No, that don't
It
mean
come, no,
import
listen,
feathers.
listen.
That
Come like
doesn't
we
have nothing to
taking.
do with it. I told you already. America and the Caribbean are one. Even they might
Let's go
have
ahead.
some species of
Let's go
animals that's
ahead.
found in different parts. We entitled to everything because America and the Caribbean are one. There
Let
is
me
no
ask.
distinguish.
Let me ask you my question. What is your issue? Because I could say the same thing. I could say more, right? Because what part of what is I going to say? You don't want me to say. You don't want me to answer because I was telling what needs to happen before when you talk about the animals. Of course, you will take it from the animal when the bird dies. But how long it will take? But the question I have for you is this: what is the issue with the feathers? Of what is the issue with the feathers?
I don't know if you're slow, if you're not understanding what I'm saying. If I living in a particular place, my brother, the people who living in South America, right, they have the things like, for instance, right, they living in South America. Why it is you all wear buffalo coat then? Listen, buffalo is indigenous to the Americas, right? Why it is you all wear buffalo clothes? Listen, wait. Now you're wearing feathers on your head because why? Feathers is the headpiece that all you all wear. Now feathers, so now here the most important questions. Can you only use eagle feathers?
No.
No,
Because
you use
the
any
other
feathers you want when you're building your stuff. There is no such
So
thing as
listen, so hear the
I
argument,
choose
hear the
to
argument.
represent
Listen,
the bald eagle because that's
Right.
one of my power sign. So you don't understand certain things. So you only talking from a narrow perspective.
not a
You
narrow
understand?
that is a genuine perspective because listen, you're
No,
talking
not
about,
really. It's
listen,
just how you
so
seeing
then you
things from just a one pointed view. You don't understand that there is purpose, there is energy, and there is alignment for certain things. And if it doesn't align, so when it purpose and everything in a certain position. Anyways,
so every let's tell
is
me
not
right now
really for
that
that.
everybody under your sign because look how we're in the same
And it's
thing. So you're trying to say,
about X.
let me tell you how this is making no sense for somebody who have common sense and listening. You told me that the feathers is indigenous to the whole of Americas, yet wearing buffalo coat and so forth.
Yeah, that's their choice too.